Alright everyone, it's time for another update. It's been a while, it really has, but I've finally arrived in Florida. I've just been setting up things in my personal life. I got a job, so there's been a lot of setbacks, basically, with this move across the states from California to Florida. It's not exactly easy, especially when you got a lot of stuff. But anyway, it's seeming like I've been set back a month, which originally I thought, oh, this is only going to set me back a couple of weeks, like 1 or 2 weeks, but no. This whole thing was a bigger transition than I anticipated. There was a lot more things that I had to do that kept me busy and kept me away from working on the animation, which is really the last thing that needs to be worked on. The script is complete. A lot of the voice acting is complete. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And the scenes are all set up too. It's really just the animation, and I just haven't had the time to really put a dent in it. And so I'm still working on animation for the first scene, which is a pretty involved scene. It's an action scene. So this episode kind of starts off with a bang, and we get caught up with what Knuckles and Silver have been up to, which is basically just searching for Master Emerald pieces, but I won't spoil where that is and where that takes place and who they end up getting into a scuffle with, but you guys will see when the episode comes out. But I did not make this update to spoil you all on what happens in the episode. I just wanted to let you know that this is definitely going to take some time. So as I've stated in the comments a few times, I'm sure most of you haven't even seen that Cybernetics has 2 episodes left, episode 5, and then the finale with episode 6. So with those 2 episodes being pretty meaty and just there's a lot going on and there's a lot of action, especially with episode 6, I mean, I'm pretty much certain at this point that episode 6 is going to be the longest one out of all the episodes of Cybernetics. I don't know about the entire show so far, but definitely the longest one out of all of them. And it's just a lot of action and a lot of big character moments and reveals and all this kind of stuff that, and also setting up for the next arc. But again, I don't want to spoil anything there. There's a lot on my plate to tackle with that episode alone, let alone episode 5 as well. So what I'm thinking is that in terms of a release window that I can give you guys, just to give you some sort of expectation as to when these things could release, I'm going to say that episode 5 is going to take most of the rest of this year. So episode 5 is probably going to be released in late September to mid to late October. Could definitely change in the future. It's not certain, but that's what it's looking like right now. I wish I had more time. I want to have more time to be able to work on these more efficiently and get them out faster. But with the way my personal life is right now, it's just not possible. There's no other way. And then with episode 6, it's probably going to be January or February for its release, and that is February or January of 2024, just to be clear. I'm not going to go back in time and release them. So with that out of the way, I also wanted to give you guys a heads up that very soon I'm going to start announcing future projects. I have mentioned them in the comment section of one of my videos of someone who asked me, put a little screenshot up. Someone asked me, what is the future of Cybernetics? Like, what's going to happen with this show? And so I figured I'd address that here in this update video very briefly, and then I'm going to have reveal videos, which if you guys don't remember, I did a reveal video for Sonic Cybernetics, revealing that whole arc and my intentions and my plans for the whole story and the characters and everything like that, without spoiling anything, of course. And I'm going to have very similar videos coming out about these next 2 projects, which are directly tied to Cybernetics and the whole show. All the parts are connected, just so that's clear. The very next project after Sonic Cybernetics is going to be something called Sonic Agent of Chaos. And basically, Agent of Chaos is about Fleetway Supersonic and what happens to him after the events of Sonic Revolution. Because if you guys remember, I kind of left it off on this cliffhanger. He teleports away, and they have to stop the Space Colony arc from crashing into the Earth again, and he gets away because of that. And at the beginning of Cybernetics, the first thing Sonic and Shadow are doing, and the reason they go to find Rouge, is because they want someone to help them track down Fleetway and Miles as well, so they can put them away, hopefully for good. And Shadow's like, nah, I just want to kill him. So there's that whole conflict that, because of the story of Cybernetics kind of taking them away from that plot line, Fleetway got to have his own little story without Sonic and Shadow getting involved and trying to stop him. So briefly, I'll give a summary of what you can expect from this story. Fleetway, Supersonic, and Miles, my god, it is raining so hard outside right now. Fleetway, Supersonic, and Miles are going to be looking for new recruits for their team. If I give any more away, I'm going to be spoiling the story. It is just one single episode, about like 20 minutes more or less. So it's not like going to be this big extravagant story. It's really just this sort of short story that is going to just explain what he's been up to during the events of Cybernetics, which are happening at the same time as Agent of Chaos. Both of these stories take place at the same time, and they both lead into the next big project, the next big arc that's going to take up probably a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe even 2 years of my time. I don't know. But that is going to be Sonic Aftermath. Sonic Aftermath is going to be my biggest, most ambitious project, and honestly, it's been what's driving me this whole entire time to finish Cybernetics. I've been developing the story of Aftermath for about a year and a half now, maybe even longer than that. I've had this idea in my head of this story, and Cybernetics was always going to be leading into that. So it's been a big motivator, and like, I know that I claim that my show is, it's so character driven. You guys have seen nothing yet. I mean, like, Cybernetics is like a plot device so we can get to the character driven story. You know, like, I always think about character, but I feel like Cybernetics, I've kind of put like the story and the plot first instead of the character driven aspects of storytelling, if that makes sense. And I think I can do better. And that's really what I'm realizing now coming to the end of Cybernetics, is that like, I can do better than this. I feel like I'm always more motivated by character-driven storytelling. Some of my favorite examples of that are like the Uncharted series, the Last of Us series are big inspirations for me personally. Like Marvel's Spider-Man, Batman Arkham. These things are a huge inspiration to me of just telling this long narrative, but the entire time it's just completely character-driven. I'm much more motivated to work on stuff like that. So I feel like that's why Aftermath is so motivating to me, because I have the whole story written out, and it's gonna be something like 8 episodes. In terms of like length, when I put it together to make the movie, it's probably gonna be the longest movie, like 2 to 2.5 hours, maybe even more than that. I have no idea, but it is so ambitious, and it really gets to the core of these characters and really stretches them in ways that we've never seen before in my series, and really tests them both in negative and positive ways. And it's really going to just put everyone... Ooh, thunder. It's really going to be the most intense story, and it's going to put these characters through a lot. I just feel like those kinds of stories are way more interesting and exciting, and so that is personally what excites me so much about Aftermath. I mean, there's going to be plenty of great action and plot and villains and all that kind of stuff, like, of course. But the thing that really gets me is just exploring these characters, my renditions of these characters, my universe of Sonic, you know, and exploring that more. That's what's so exciting. I mean, especially characters like Sonic and Shadow. I feel like because Sonic died in Doomsday, spoilers, I never really got to fully explore his character and really dive into what my version of Sonic the Hedgehog really is, what he stands for, what his relationship is exactly with Shadow, and where that can go, in terms of how they clearly have very differing opinions, as we've seen in Cybernetics. I want to go even further into that, and I think that's why we like characters like Spider-Man. I mean, that poor kid, Peter Parker, is put through the ringer. I mean, he does not catch a break in any of the comics, any of the movies, but that's why we love him. It's so relatable. And, you know, it's kind of hard to make Sonic characters more relatable because they're anthropomorphic, you know, creatures from some other world or whatever you want to call it, right? And, you know, but I'm going to really attempt to dig deeper and do better for this next arc in terms of character. So get ready for that, because, you know, of course there's still going to be comedic moments, especially with Scourge being there, you know, that all that stuff is going to be there, but it's just going to be better. I really want to pull on some emotional strings, especially towards the end of the arc. And so I'm just so excited for Aftermath, as you can tell. I'm talking a lot about it. I don't even know if this is going to go in to this update video, because I am going to talk a lot more about this whenever I make the big reveal videos for these projects. So I guess I'll just leave off with saying that I really appreciate all you guys, and I love this community already. I started calling you all creators in the in some of the descriptions because it just came to my mind, like, I think that's a good name for you all. So I hope you guys like it, because I think whether we realize it or not, we're all creators in many different forms and many different ways, and we all create, and it's a beautiful thing to create, you know, regardless of your skill set or how you do it. But just, I feel like if anything else, that's what we're here for in this world, is to create something and make it mean something and put your full self into it and all your emotion and energy, maybe connect with someone out there with that. And that's kind of been my goal with this show and why I've dedicated so much of my time to doing it. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching my content, and you know, it's been getting a lot more views lately, which is great to see. I do want to say that if you guys know anyone who would also be interested in this content, be sure to share it with them. I do want to grow this channel. I would like more people to see this show. I put a lot of work into it. So be sure to like the video and share it. And if you want to join our community and become a creator, subscribe. We'd love to have you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.